Number 7, Aaron says, how do you test word of faith prophecy when it sounds more like insight slash encouragement, not foretelling or future events? What should modern prophecy sound like? I've learned so much from you. Thank you. Aaron, I want to try to have a conservative perspective on this. So I'm not opposed to someone prophesying to me. Hey, if you have a prophecy for me and it's legit and you know that it's legit, then you can send it on in through the website. But I have had things where people sent stuff and it was a little weird. And I would say that happens at such a high rate that I'm naturally skeptical when someone comes up to me to say they have a word from God for me, especially a stranger. So one thing I would look for with this is if someone's going to give you prophetic word of some kind, I'd like to know them personally. I'd like them to be part of the community and have a reputation for accuracy and reliability, not just for being super spiritual. Some people have a reputation for being super spiritual, but they're not consistently accurate and reliable. And that, to me, I'm like, you may not be spiritual. You might just talk good. The other things I would consider is if you have a prophecy that's merely an encouragement, right? Like, hey, I just want to encourage you to press on in the faith and keep your eyes on Jesus. And, you know, right now is an important time for you to just stay focused upon him, read the word. Like, you know, that's generally good advice. Like if the prophecy is just generally good advice, it doesn't have to be a prophecy to also encourage you. You don't have to decide whether it's prophetic or not. If it's something that is future, like you should do this with your life, maybe it's not future prediction, but it's a future command. It's like what you need to do with your life. Like God's calling you to go to China. He's calling you and your family to be missionaries in China. I'm like, unless I have strong reason to think that that's truly God, I'm not going to just go do it. Like I'm not. Like people can't just run up and randomly claim to proclaim things in the name of God and control your life. This is not wisdom to do this. For every time in Israel where there's a prophet, there's also false prophets. And often they outnumber the true. And so we have to be very wise and discerning about these things. I would look for some kind of confirmation in the form of like reliable people saying this, the Lord showing you in some other really clear way. Nor do I expect prophecy in my life. If it comes, great. But I don't expect it. And I don't rely on it. I don't need it to feel like I'm spiritual or feel like I'm connected to God. I don't need that. That's a healthy thing, I think, for us. So if it, on the other hand, it's a statement about a future event and you're just not sure, you're like, I just don't know if it's true, then it's okay. This is something these guys will never tell you, but it's okay for you to just slow your roll and be like, look, I heard what they said and they said this was going to happen, but I'm not confident that they are right. I trust the Lord, but I don't know if I trust their discernment about this thing. So in the New Testament, there was prophecy, but it would go through a judgment process. And this was consistent. They would say in Corinth, someone brings up a prophecy, some prophetic statement. The leaders that are there would then test and judge that statement to help you process through this. So maybe an additional step is to bring in spiritual leaders who you respect, who are wise and godly, to help them test and consider those things. And random people on YouTube saying, God showed me, God told me, and then they make all these statements like, you got to, show me your track record. Otherwise, I don't really care. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's prophecy was more in normal community. The YouTube prophet people have prove your track record first. And often this is when you find out that you should have ignored them the whole time. I hate to say it. It's just a sad reality. So I don't despise prophecy, but I want to test all things, Scripture says.